Hello everyone, welcome to Global Online. In this lecture, we are going to see NTA UGC Net Paper 1, and in this lecture, we are going to discuss most expected MCQ on Research Aptitude Unit. And today we are going to discuss the MCQ on meaning, type and characteristic of Research Aptitude, which is really important topic under Research Aptitude Unit. So do watch this lecture to clear all your doubt about the same, and you will receive my lecture every day at 7 am. So do visit our channel every day at 7 in the morning and do watch my lecture to clear your upcoming exam. So before we move forward, there is one announcement. The students who are preparing for UGC NET 2022 exam, we the Global Online is offering 2000 plus MCQ quick revision PDF. Students, there is very less time remaining for your exam, and this is a guaranteed PDF in which we are providing you current affair question with the detailed explanation plus PYQs with a detailed explanation, most expected MCQ and most repeated MCQ, which is really important for your upcoming exam. This PDF will help you to revise all the topic in detail. To get the PDF, please contact on given number. Do WhatsApp message here, okay? And the PDF is available just for rupees 599. So do message here and get the PDF and start your preparation. How will you define the research process? So here in this question, they ask you to define the research process, for which the first option is the method of collecting research data. Second one is the stages or the steps the researcher follow in carrying out the research project. Third one is a method of presenting research result, and the last one is none of the above. So here the research process is the process of multiple steps in conducting the research work. Whenever if you want to do the research, there is a certain process or there is a certain steps which the researcher have to follow. Okay, the research process include the various steps which we are going to see further. So here you can see the research process or different steps which researcher have to follow while doing the research, in which the first one will be identifying the problem. The one who is doing the research will first find out the problem, what exact problem is. After he find the problem, the second step is reviewing the literature. The third one is setting the research question, objective and a hypothesis. Now he know the problem. The third step is what are the different objective or what are the different questions are there that the researcher have to set. The fourth one will be choosing the study design. Now here in a first step, the researcher will choose the design of the research. Fifth one is deciding on sample design. Then is collecting data. Here researcher will collect the data. It might be a primary or a secondary data. Then is processing and analyzing the data. And the last one is writing the report. Once he analyzes the data, the last step will be the writing the report. Okay, he will write a report on the conclusion. So here the answer for this question will be option number B. That is the stages or a step the researcher follow in carrying out a research project. The best meaning of research is. So here in this question they ask you the best meaning of research, for which the first option is adoption of scientific method for a creation and application of knowledge. Second one is arriving at generalization based on the observed data. Third one is search for universal truth of life, and the last one is none of the above. So here if we look at the meaning of research, research means searching it again and again or researching it. Okay. So here the research is defined as a human activity based on the intellectual application in the investigation of the matter, and the primary purpose of the research is discovering, interpreting and development of method and a system for the advancement of human knowledge on the wide variety of scientific matter of their world and universe. The research can be used the scientific method but need not to do so. The research is an art of scientific investigation. It's regarded as systematic efforts to gain new knowledge. Here we are trying to develop something. Okay. Here we are trying to solve the question. Okay. So here the best possible meaning of the research is the adoption of scientific method for creation and application of knowledge. That means option A will be correct here. Research is related with. So here they given you some option and they ask you research is related with what. For which the first option is discovery of new idea. Second one is solution of the problem. Third one is investigation of the problem. And the last one is all of the above. So when we are doing research, what we are exactly doing? Here we are researching any information. We are trying to discover new idea or new solution. Okay. First what we are doing? We are finding out the problem. And for that problem, we are trying to find a solution. Okay. And we are investigating the problem first and then we are finding the solution. So all these options will be included here. That means the correct answer will be option number D. That is all of the above. Discovery of new idea, solution of the problem and investigation of problem. All these are related to research. What is the purpose of doing research? So here in this question they ask you the purpose of doing research. For which the first option is to identify the problem. Second one is to find out a solution. Third one is both A and B. And the last one is none of the above. The purpose of research is to enhance the society by advancing knowledge. Through the development of scientific theories, concept and idea. A research purpose is to meet through the forming the hypothesis, collecting data, analyzing the result, forming the conclusion or implementing the finding into the real life application or forming the new knowledge. Okay. So while doing the research, the first step is to identify the problem and for that problem we are trying to find out a solution. So both this will be the purpose of doing the research. That means the correct answer will be option number C. That is both A and B. How to judge the depth of any research? So here in this question they ask you how to judge the depth of any research, for which the first option is by research title. Second one is by research duration or a time period. Third one is the research objectives and the last one is the total expenditure on the research. How much money you have spent on the research or a researcher have spent on the while doing the research. By research objective, we can judge the depth of any research. The research objective or the main aim of the objective consequently demonstrate what we are trying to achieve through the research. Okay, it's an aim. So if you want to find out a depth of any research, then you have to just go through the objective. What different objectives are there? What was the main aim of that research? Then only you will come to know the depth of that research. The research objective consequently demonstrate what a person is trying to achieve through that research. So the answer here will be option number C, that is by research objective. Which of the following are the characteristic of the applied research? So here in this question they ask you the characteristic of the applied research, for which the first option is seek to find a solution to immediate problem and issues. Second one is problem tend to be more practical. Third one is both A and B and the last one is none of the above. So what is applied research and why it is important? The applied research is one of the type of the research which the problem is established and known by the researcher. So it uses the research to answer the specific question. In this kind of an investigation, the emphasis the study is on the practical problem solving. So here the correct answer for this question is option number C, that is seek to find a solution to immediate problem and the issues is one characteristic of a applied research, and problems tend to be more practical is also the characteristic of the applied research. Which of the following is not the characteristic of the experimental research? So read the question carefully. Here they ask you not the characteristic of the experimental research, for which the first option is an independent variable is manipulated. Second one is all other variable except the independent variable are held constant. Third one is the effect of manipulation of the dependent variable on the independent variable is observed, and the last one is all of the above. So experimental research consists of the hypothesis, a variable that the researcher can manipulate, okay, and variable that can be measured, calculated and compared. And most importantly, the experimental research is carried out in a control setting. The researcher gather the data and finding will either the support or refute the hypothesis. So here the effect of manipulation of a dependent variable on an independent variable is observed is not the characteristic of experimental research. Research can be classified on the basis of. So here in this question they ask you the research can be classified on the basis of what? For which the first option is objective, second one is process, the third one is both A and B, and the last one is none of the above. Research can be classified on the basis of the objective or the aim of the research and the process of the research. So the answer here is option number C, that is both A and B. Objectivity in the research implies. So here in this question they ask you about the objectivity in the research, which implies, for which the first option is exact judgment of the truth, second one is replicability, third one is quality of the data, and the last one is none of the above. So here the objectivity means the aim, okay, the aim what the researcher want to find out, okay, what are the different objective of his research. Now why the objective have been selected? To get the exact judgment of the truth. The researcher is trying to find out the objective or trying to get to the target to find out the exact judgment of the truth. So the answer here is option number A. Objectivity in the research implies the exact judgment of the truth. A research problem is primarily chosen depending upon. So here in this question they ask you a research problem is a primarily chosen depending upon what? For which the first option is its relevance, second one is availability of the literature, third one is availability of the funds, and the last one is none of the above. The research is the systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict and control the observed phenomena. Research involves the inductive and deductive method. The research problem is defined as an area of the concern that require the meaningful understanding of the specific topic, condition, or a difficulty. A research problem means the finding the answer to the question. Okay. So when we look at the characteristics of a research problem, it covers the essential needs of the issues. The problem is stated logically and clearly. Then is the research is based on the actual fact and evidence. The research problem generate and encourage the research question. The sufficient data can be obtained. The problem has an unsatisfactory answer and a new problem. Okay. A research problem is primarily chosen depending upon its relevance. So the answer here is option number A. Which of the following are the characteristics of qualitative research? So here in this question they ask you the characteristic of the qualitative research, for which the first option is describe the situation, second one is it is a exploratory, third one is both A and B, and the last one is results are present in the tables and the graph. So here the qualitative method is a use to understand the people belief, experience, attitude, behavior and interactions. So it generates the non-numerical data. Qualitative research is not looking for a cause and a effect. Okay, please remember that it is not looking for the cause and effects. Instead, it looks at the meaning, perspective and the motivation. It is looking for why. Okay. So the answer here for this question will be option number C, that is both A, that is describe the situation, and it is a exploratory will be the characteristic of qualitative research. Which term best describe the consistency of the measurement in the research? So here in this question they ask you, given which term best describe the consistency of the measurement in the research, for which the first option is reliability, second one is scientific, third one is logical, and the last one is none of the above. So here the reliability refers to the consistency of the measure, and the psychologists consider the three types of a consistency, that is over time, the second one is across items, and the third one is across different researchers. Okay. So here the correct answer is option number A, that is reliability best describe the consistency of the measurement in research. Identify the characteristic of good research. So here in this question they told you to identify the characteristics of good research, for which the first option is it can be replicated and doable. Second one is it generates a new question and cyclical in nature. Third one is it's a systematic, and the last one is all of the above. So here the research is the process of investigation which aim to increase the current knowledge by discovering new facts. And the first step of a research is to identify the problem of the research and what the researcher want to solve. The research problem is the statement that solve the area of concern, and the research problem is the specific issue. Specific issue or a difficulty or a gap in the knowledge that will be aimed to address in your research. So here the correct answer is option number D, that is all of the above are the characteristic of good research. A research is generally, so here in this question they ask you about the research, for which the first option is cyclical process, second one is fast process, third one is diagonal process, and the last one is none of the above. So research required the collection and interpretation. Collection and interpretation of what? Of the data, okay, in attempting to resolve the problem that initiated the research. This process is often considered as cyclical in nature. So while doing the research, the researcher have to follow the stages or the process, and there are 8 different steps which are involved in the research, okay, in which the first step is identifying the problem. Whenever the researcher is going to do the research, the first step which he have to follow is identifying the problem. Once he identify the problem, second one is reviewing the literature. He have to see the literature related to his research. Third one is setting the research questions, objective and a hypothesis. Once the literature is done, the third step is to set the different objective and a hypothesis. Then is choosing the study design. Fifth one is deciding on the sample design. Okay, how the sample he is going to collect, for which the design is required. The fifth step is deciding on the sample design. Then is collecting the data. Now here, how the information or data the researcher will collect, that is important part. Okay, and there is a two step of collecting the data, that is primary data and a secondary data. Primary means the original or a first hand data, and a secondary is the we are collecting the data of somebody already have done. Okay, seventh step is processing and analyzing of the data. Here the researcher is analyzing the data whatever he have collected, and here he is going to use the different techniques to analyze. And the last step is writing the report or a conclusion. So these are the 8 steps which are really important in the research unit, which you have to remember. Okay. So here the correct answer is option number A, that is research is generally cyclical process. The initial phase of research is. So here in this question they ask you the initial step or an initial phase of the research, okay, for which the first option here is problem identification, second one is report writing, third one is data collection, and the last one is none of the above. Okay, so the problem identification, the first step to develop a clear and a precise understanding about the research problem. To permit the effective conduct of the research process, it is important to analyze the problem to conduct the research effectively. If you know your problem, then it will be easy for you to find out a solution for that problem. Okay, and if supposing you don't know the problem but you want to do the research, but the question is that on what you are going to do the research, what you are going to find out. Okay, so the basic step is problem identification. So the answer here for this question is option number A. The initial phase of research is problem identification. Literature review is an example of. So whenever we are doing the research, there is called a literature review which we have to do while doing the research. So here in this question they ask you the literature review is an example of given which data, for which the first option is primary data, second one is secondary data, third one is personal data, and the last one is none of the above. So there are two types of data, that is a primary data and secondary data. Okay, now what is a primary data? Primary data is the first hand information. Okay, and the secondary data refer to the second hand information. So here the primary data means it collect for the first time and it is a original data, okay, which we collect directly from the person. okay, or we do the survey, that is come under the primary data. And what is secondary data? Secondary data means it is not originally collected, rather it obtained from the already published or the unpublished source, okay. Means if we are doing the any research and if we are collecting the secondary data, that means we are collecting the someone else data, okay. Somebody has already published the data or maybe the unpublished data, that data we are collecting, that time we are saying that it is a secondary data, okay. Literature review is an example of the secondary data because the information what we are going to collect for the research is not the original work, okay. Increasing the sample size has the following effect upon the sampling error. So here in this question they ask you, if you increase the sample size, then it will have a effect on the sampling error, okay. For which the first option is it increases the sampling error, second one is it reduces the sampling error, third one is it has a no effect on the sampling error, and the last one is all of the above. Now here, why this sampling error is occurring? It is because of the sample size. And to reduce the sample size, what we have to do? We have to select the more sampling size. Okay, we have to increase our sampling size so that the sampling error which is occurring there can reduce. Okay. So the answer here is option number B. Increasing the sample size will reduce the sampling error. What are the characteristics of good sample? So here in this question they ask you the characteristics of good sample, for which the first point is it should be economical, second one is it should be provide actual information, third one is it should be proportional, and the last one is all of the above. So understand the meaning of sample. What is a sample here? A sample is a smaller or a manageable version of the large group. Okay. So here, for example, if this is a whole sample or a whole population, then this part will be the sample which we select for the our research. Okay. So here it is a subset containing the characteristic of a larger population. Samples are used in a statistic testing when the population size are too large for the test. It includes all the possible members or a observation. A sample should represent the whole population and not reflect the bias towards a specific attribute. So whenever we are going to select the sample, we have to select the sample which will not be a bias, okay, and should provide the actual or a accurate information. So the answer for this question will be option number D, that is all of the above. It should be economical, it should provide actual information, so our research will be accurate, and it should be proportional. Okay. In order to pursue the research, which of the following is priorly required? So here in this question they ask you, if you want to pursue the research, which of the given is priorly required? For which the first option is developing a research design, second one is formulating a research question, third one is deciding about the data analysis procedure, and the last one is formulating a research hypothesis. Now the research is the process of consisting of identifying and defining the research problem, okay, formulating and testing the hypothesis through the data collection, and the analysis and making a deduction and reaching to the final conclusion from the test result of the hypothesis, the reporting and evaluating the research. So here the first and the most important step under the research is formulation of research problem. And it is like a foundation of a building to the construction. Whenever if you want to build big building, the main step is what? The main step is the foundation, right? So even in the research, if you want to do the research, the main question here is formulating the research question. Okay, on that base we will go further. Okay, so the answer here for this question will be option number B, that is formulating a research question is primarily required to pursue the research. Following are the characteristics of research aspect, okay, for which the first option is systematic, second one is replicable, third one is subjective approach, and the last one is scientific inquiry. So here the correct answer for this question is option number C, that is subjective approach is the characteristic of research aspect.